What if I told you 80% of your SEO efforts are a total waste of time, and I can actually prove it? I want to walk you through step by step using examples and updated tactics that work right now in 2025. Most people overthink technical SEO, and unless you're building a web app, doing a migration, or running complex programming content, you don't need to panic. You don't need to do that much. There's top of funnel type stuff that's easy wins for you. The first step that you absolutely need to do, and this is where all of this strategy comes down to, is Google Search Console. So you need to make sure that your sitemap is on Google Search Console, and if you have like plugins like Yoast or Rank Math, or if you're on platforms like Webflow or Wix, they do this automatically for you. And then anytime you post a new page, a new blog, you post a URL, you need to make sure that you're actually putting it on Google Search Console and inspecting it to get it indexed faster. Because the faster you get it indexed, the higher the chances are that it's going to be shown when people search in Google, when people search in AI, because that's pulling from Google. So up here, when you log into Google Search Console, you can see that you can inspect any URL. So you need to make sure that you do that. Now, I would also recommend, if you use a tool, especially for blog content, to SEO blog content, you should be using a tool, because a lot of this kind of is going to stem back to that. But if you use a tool like Arvow, which there's a link below, you can do SEO blogs on Arvow with keywords. They actually allow you to index. You can set up a new indexer, and basically anytime you create a blog here that's posted on your website, it'll automatically index it for you. So that'll save you a ton of time. I would highly recommend doing that. That's really step one of this whole process, is make sure all your stuff is indexed. If it's not, that's probably why you're not getting a lot of traffic, because Google needs to see all of your stuff. Now, step two is where the magic really happens. This is just a sample website. This isn't ours, but we're using it. We just took this over from a client. But what you want to do is go into here, click export, and then you can do either Excel, Google Sheets, or CSV. And this is going to give you the important next steps, the important data that we're going to use to really kind of launch this whole process. So once you have that downloaded, let's bring that up here. All right, so once you have this data pulled up, this is basically all of your top search keywords. The keywords will be over here. I minimize them because the keywords are really irrelevant to you in this process, because they'll be related to whatever your niche is. But the things that we want to look at, we can see are clicks, impressions, click-through rate, and position. This is where we want to pay attention to, and is really kind of the position. So what we want to do is we can go in here and we can sort this. We can sort this A to Z and just see these are all the keywords that are ranking number one. So that's really good. Where we want to start to target, because this is number one, is great. Really have two options. Number one, we can focus on doing more of that because we have a number one ranking already. But where I like to start is usually between like 6 and 12 rank here. So we can go and see kind of all these keywords up to 12, what the keywords are. And then what we want to do is focus on those keywords first to bring up their ranking. I mean, this is really the low hanging fruit, because we want to make sure that we're ranking for these keywords if they're relevant. Obviously, if they're not relevant, we don't want to pay attention to them. So what you can then do is take these keywords and then go back to Google Search Console, go down here to queries, and then find the keyword that's between the 6 and 12. And then what you can do is you can click into it and then see which page it's related to. So if it's already on a page, that's good. That's fine. We can create more content basically using that keyword to put on that page to increase the rank further. If it's not showing on a page, what we want to do is then create a page around that keyword, whether that is an actual service page, whether that is blog page, blog article specific to that keyword. And then what we can do also, if it's already showing on a page, we can link back to that main page. So whether the keyword is already ranking high or it's not ranking high, but it's still like, so if it's on a service page, we can create an additional blog article or an additional page and then link it back to that service page to create more internal links, because that's where really, and then it's going to help all of those pages rank higher. So those are the two options. You want to go find the low-hanging fruit keywords, see if they're on a page already. If not, make sure you create a page or create blog content. Again, if you use Arvow, you can go into Arvow here. This is why I like this tool, because it releases SEO-friendly articles where you don't have to do a lot of the work. You can upload your sitemap, you can upload all of your brand information, and then it'll basically put the article together, and it won't seem like AI did it. So you can go in here, put the keyword in here, and then generate an article around that particular keyword. And then what that will do, so here's an example, just so you know. Here's one we did on like weight loss. That was the keyword. We want to do an article on weight loss. So basically it will include what's the best way to lose weight. It'll automatically do the title for you if you don't want to put that in. And then if you upload your sitemap, it'll automatically include these links, these internal links to your other pages, which is great. Again, that's just part of that strategy. If you already have a page, like a service page, I would basically then link to that within here. And then it includes all the other stuff, meta descriptions, HTML, backlinks, internal links, alt text, all the things that you would have to manually do if you created this article elsewhere. And then I can link this. Again, this links to my website, so I can push this out through Arvow to my website, to social media, and then also put it to Google and have it index automatically, so I'm not having to do that extra work. So that's really the key that we want to use this for, is create content for all of these create content and or pages for all of these low-hanging fruit. And then we can start to circle back to some of these higher ranking ones. You notice like a lot of these are ranked 1, but the impressions are super low. So that's really a problem there, is we want to make sure, because you can kind of see click-through rate, this is impressions. So depending on where it ranks, if it's super low, like these are ranking number 1, but there's only 1 impression. So I need to create more content for that, because that's really not a good indication of what's going on. But this gives you a great target to start shooting at. And the next step of this process is to use bottom of the funnel keywords that searches with buyer intent. So here is a good example of what I mean. So a lot of people will try to target the what it is or how to articles, but those bring in readers, not buyers. Buyers are looking for specific solutions to their problems. So in this example, what is time tracking software? What is time tracking software? Just someone looking to see kind of like what it is, what it's used for. But a buyer is going to be looking for best time tracking software with payroll integration. They already know what it is. They're looking for it with a solution. So you look at this list of keywords, and then basically you frame them in this type of framework, right? And again, you could title it, you can pop, using Arvow, you can come back here, not to keep circling back, but this tool is amazing for this. You can go in here, type the keyword in here, and then type, so it could be time tracking software as a keyword, and then the title, could be the best time tracking software with payroll integration, and it'll create an entire article using that long tail keyword in a very strategic way. The other thing that you can do if you're unsure kind of what keywords to use, or you want to kind of branch out from your original list, you can use Ahrefs or Ubersuggest. They do I think they have free versions, but they have paid versions as well to spy on what your competition and what your competitors are ranking for. And you can basically see those buyer-ready phrases, or at least see the keywords and then turn them into buyer-ready phrases. You could also create a list and pop it in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to make those long-tail keyword buyer-friendly phrases. So again, if I just had this time tracking software, I can ask him to turn it into one of these with a prompt. So that's another great way to use ChatGPT to be able to do this and at least get ideas, so you're not starting from scratch. And the last piece of this puzzle is to focus on backlinks, but I'm not talking about spending 10 hours a week emailing bloggers to try and get backlinks. There's easier ways to do this. So if you go to Moz, Moz.com, you can submit this. You can submit your website, and it'll give you a whole list of local and niche directories that you can get featured on. So basically it'll give you a list of like 20 different directories. And then what you do is just go to that. There's websites to each and it'll show you, are you showing up in that directory or not? Most of the time, if you've never done this before, you're probably not showing up in many of those directories. So then you go to each of those directory websites and you submit your company's information to those niche directories. And then that will help give you those backlinks back to your site. The other thing that you can go to is featured.com. And basically you can journalists will post questions and you can reply as an expert. And if they use your quote, they'll get a backlink. So this is a really good way to get backlinks as well to do this. The other thing that you can do is, again, you could use Arvow to generate PR pages and whip up personalized press pages that pitch your expertise. That helps you land mentions and builds credibility without begging for it. That's a little bit more of a long shot, but you can create content and position yourself as an expert, which you should be doing anyways, because that helps with the Google EEAT. You're creating authority and trustworthiness and all that stuff that Google looks for. But that will definitely help you. And even with 5 to 10 quality backlinks, it can lift your domain authority from like 0 to 20, and that's enough to compete on many bottom of the funnel keywords. That's a strategy to follow. Make sure you have Google Search Console set up. You're targeting keywords you already rank for, and try to improve your ranking for the 6 to 12 ranking ones. You create content with intent for buyers. Focus on bottom of the funnel searches with how you're structuring your content, and then work on getting those backlinks through indexing, featured.com, and then writing those articles where you are the expert. Make sure you check out this video I did on how to help your website show up in search, and more importantly, AI overviews and AI search is becoming bigger and bigger, so I want to make sure that you get ahead of that. And again, there's a link below to try Arvow for free. It's a great SEO tool in your tool belt. Other than that, I'll be back soon. Have an amazing rest of your day.